With Starfield set to release in September, all eyes are on Bethesda as they try to claw their way back to the top of the open-world RPG genre. It's been a long and tumultuous road, but Starfield represents a new beginning, a fresh start for a development studio that not too long ago was known as the king of the open-world game. The company showed off a laundry list of new gameplay features and technical enhancements in this summer's Starfield Direct, but I wanted to turn my attention to a more intangible aspect of the game that will likely end up being a key factor in how successful it really is. That sometimes undefinable quality of tone and atmosphere. The simple act of existing in a Bethesda world. In Todd Howard's appearance on the Lex Friedman podcast, he had this to say about how Bethesda creates tone in their games.
The graphics are very, very important to us because, and we always push them, because when you're doing the kind of things we do where you step into a virtual world, it does have to have that moment of, wow, this feels real. I've never experienced this. And it's okay. I think it's okay to let just like the time settle. Meaning you step out, just how does the wind sound? How are the trees moving? How are the clouds moving? I enjoy strolling and watching the sunset. How does it land over the water? Like, it doesn't have to be like, hey, let's go, let's finish a quest, let's go kill things, let's figure out the next step, let's level up. Like, I like the quiet moments a lot. And I think when you play our games, you can tell we spend a lot of time on them. Then you watch like the weather roll in. I think that's just part of being that character, being that person in that space.
Tone is brought up quite often in discussions surrounding works of fiction in any media. We can almost dumb it down to what emotions and feelings a creator is trying to convey at a baseline level in a given game or book or movie or TV show. Maybe you had an English teacher in the 10th grade asking you about the tone of Shakespeare's Macbeth, and you thought to yourself, gee, I don't know, Miss Levitt, it's kinda hard to pick up on anything about this goddamn book when it sounds like it was written by the maesters of Game of Thrones. Now, if you'll excuse me, Jake's waiting in the parking lot with an apple, a piece of aluminum foil, and a dub. But video games are different, largely because they're able to combine so many different forms of media into one package. It's not just words on a page, it's visuals and spectacle. It's music and soundscapes. It's characters and relationships and storylines and world building that extends far beyond what other forms of media are capable of. All of that rolled into one cohesive piece of entertainment. All the best games are able to nail their sense of tone. The elements that come together to create specific emotions, to craft a certain mental state. And in my view, very few open world game designers can do it better than Bethesda. There's something about Bethesda worlds that elicit such wonder and intrigue. It's the joy of exploration and pushing out into the unknown cranked up to 11. It's that feeling of starting a hike and not knowing exactly what you'll find on your way up the trail. A feeling of limitless possibilities, that you could explore the same space years from now and still find something new even when you thought you knew it like the back of your hand. From what we've seen from Starfield so far, it's looking like Bethesda is trying harder than ever to create that sensation, with hundreds of unique planets and places to sink your teeth into. But how do they do it? What makes up the tone that underpins the entire experience of a Bethesda game? You heard Todd mention the soundscape, and that's absolutely a huge part of it. The rustle of foliage and trees as the wind swiftly whips through them. The soft pitter-patter of rain as a thunderstorm kicks up. The echoes of a vast cave ringing in your ears. Starfield looks to introduce us to countless different environments and biomes, which will all be complete with accompanying sound design. For a space exploration game like this, that's as important as ever. Each different planet and space needs to feel unique. We need to be able to have a sense of the powerful winds of a sandstorm dominating the landscape among the deserts, or the song of the forest taking a hold of us in a wooded area. And the music obviously plays a big part in that too. Where are the calm and reflective tracks placed relative to the faster, more pressing songs? When should the music invoke a sense of fear and foreboding rather than wonder and excitement? And how do you balance it all together? Are the songs good enough that you don't get tired of hearing them for 1,000 hours? Do you internalize them and remember them for years to come? The answer, probably, because these composers don't fucking miss. Music is so important in games because music stimulates the brain in a way that words and visuals can't. Music can quite literally increase blood flow to areas of the brain centered around emotions, so it makes sense that half the Skyrim OST makes me cry. And combined with the general soundscape, what we hear can play a significant role in how we feel about a given game. But of course, the visuals matter too, which is another big piece of the puzzle. How well does what you're seeing on your screen connect with what you're hearing? Do the graphics blend together with the sound design in a way that accentuates the best parts of exploration, making you feel a wide range of different emotions at various points throughout the game? One new thing Starfield is trying with their planetary systems is lighting relative to the position of the star of that given system. Through these advancements in lighting tech, there's an opportunity here for Bethesda to make their world feel more realistic than ever before. Lighting can play such a major role in how a player connects with a given world because it does so much to frame the world itself, how it evolves and changes from day to night, how different landmarks are presented, Skyrim's moons gleaming down amongst a dark sky, leaking magic, the snow-covered mountains glistening as the day draws to a close, the setting sun disappearing behind the decrepit skyscrapers of Fallout 4, a glowing reminder of a tarnished world. Lighting might be part of the reason why people had a hard time connecting with Fallout 76. Its graphical issues were immersion breaking. And of course, visual variety is of utmost importance because visual variety is so emphasized in the real world. And Starfield doesn't seem to be lacking in visual variety whatsoever, which is good because it's oftentimes the most integral part of exploration as a whole. It's the difference between densely packed, grimy city streets and perfectly manicured cookie-cutter suburbs, of lush green mountain ranges and rolling fields of wheat and tropical beaches. And it's why we have so much fun exploring a place in the real world that offers up a different aesthetic than what we're used to. Human beings love to vacation, to see different cultures and eat interesting foods and try new activities, but we also just like to see new things, to just look, to gaze upon a gorgeous vista and breathe deeply and simply take in something we don't see every day. And video games allow us to do that in spades. The more visual variety that we can take in, the better. To satiate that deeply rooted human desire to conquer new frontiers, places completely foreign to us, places that look so different than the ones we spend most of our time in. And it's obviously not just about the nature, it's about the world building and the structures too. The beauty of the handcrafted content you end up spending so much time in. Going from the Wild West inspired Aquila City to the cyberpunk-esque neon. It's about being able to place yourself in New Atlantis and imagine what it would be like to carry the burden of continuing the legacy of humanity in a future where people had to abandon Earth. Bethesda often talks about creating your own story and doing whatever you want, but it can be just as much fun to be a part of the broader story of these worlds, to be a footnote among centuries of lore and rich histories, to bask in the idea that this world existed long before you and continues to exist even after you put the controller down. Its cultures and religions and the personal relationships we harbor with our past, present, and future that end up defining our world. And it isn't any different in the virtual worlds we choose to inhabit. The world itself, the look and the feel and the atmosphere and all the little ways it's fleshed out. That's what drives the desire to create your own story, even more than the game systems ever could. What is The Elder Scrolls if not a massive tapestry outlining the inner machinations of different beings and how a wide variety of social groups with different gods, cultures, and ways of life both depend on each other and are at odds with one another? What is Fallout if not a tale of the light of humanity shining through the darkest of times, a phoenix rising from the ashes of a broken civilization? And what will Starfield's take be on the new frontiers of man and the technological advancement of our society for better or worse? Of course we love the worlds of these games, because like any great pieces of art, they hold up a mirror and explore our real-world problems in a way that we can easily grasp, in a way that a textbook in school could never hope to. And through lore and world building and the stories told through both characters and environments, so too do we slowly discover pieces of ourselves, new emotions and ways of thinking we might not have even known existed. Plus, you know, loot. Loot's fun. It's difficult for us to dissect these intangible qualities we call heart or soul in a game because oftentimes it's difficult to put your finger on what it is exactly that makes you connect so deeply with a given game world. The reality may just be that it's the certain way that everything comes together in the end. The visuals and music and sound design and world building that either clicks or doesn't. Everyone is different. Some games click so strongly for some while doing nothing for others. And there's a beauty in that subjectivity. Tone is this slippery, dynamic thing made up of so many different elements that has to work in all the right ways for you. And at the end of the day, the tone presented in Starfield will be the difference between this game being just another open world title or a timeless epic that lives on in the hearts of millions. I'm not expecting every single gamer to unequivocally fall in love with Starfield, but I can't wait for Bethesda's next attempt at achieving that mythical status. But what aspect of Starfield has you excited? Head down to the comments and let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like for me and consider subscribing for more RPG content like this. I know my girlfriend is excited because maybe when Starfield drops, I'll finally shut the fuck up about Skyrim. I can't wait to see how she reacts when she finds out I'm naming my firstborn son Ulfric. Until next time, this is Yags, signing off.